So, welcome everybody. We are so excited to have you join us in the webinar today on making the move to Jane. We're going to cover some very exciting topics here today. Hopefully, we're going to answer some of your questions and just let you know how to make the switch over to Jane. All right, so we're first going to introduce ourselves. So, hello everyone, my name is Maren. I am a product specialist here in the Jane customer support team. I've been with Jane for just over a year now, and I'm very excited to have you all here to show you around Jane. And I'll pass it over to my co-host to introduce himself.
Hi, everyone. My name is Chris, and I'm also from the support team. And I've been with Jane a little bit over a year now. And prior to Jane, I worked at a well-known fruit technology company where I heard rave reviews when I talked to clinics about Jane and how much they loved it. So that got me thinking, and here I am today. And a fun fact about our time together today, it's a little bit of a family affair. Maren and I started on the same day, so we were part of the same training group and have worked together this whole time. So this is kind of a special moment for us. Thanks for joining. And yeah, I'm going to focus a little bit on the importing part of the process. So how do we get that data, that solid gold nugget of information into your Jane account? And we think transitioning software is a little bit like finding your dream home. There's that exploration and then the inspection and making sure that everything's just right. And then if everything goes to plan, the move. Maren, I'll pass it back to you to take us forward.
Yeah, so agreed, Chris. Just like you said, transitioning to new software is like finding your dream home. And just like finding your dream home, maybe there's some hesitations. Maybe there's some factors you want to consider before you switch. So before we dive into things, we want to hear from you. Everyone in the audience, pop into that chat. In your experience, if you're considering switching your software, coming into a new clinic management system, what are your biggest hesitations? There should be a poll that's popping up in your screen right now. So let us know in the poll there. Are you worried about losing some of that important data? We know how important charts are for transferring. Are you unsure if your team's going to be able to pick up the new system? Prior to myself working at Jane, I actually worked at a clinic as a front desk staff and as a practitioner. I was able to learn Jane without any training, so I can attest it is very user-friendly, but of course, we want to make sure that you're comfortable with that. Want to make sure your software is going to meet all of your unique needs, So pop it in there. Chris, what are we seeing there? Are there some common threads popping up?
Yeah, so I'm going to go from both the quiz as well as from the chat. So with our little poll, the number one is just making sure that that new software is going to meet your unique needs. That's a big one. We want to make sure that it's the right fit, because a tool that doesn't do the right job for you, is that the right tool for you? So yeah, definitely making sure that that's going to do everything you need now and in the future as well. And then another big one, close to my heart, worried about losing important data during that transition. So will we be able to bring all of that crucial information across into my new system? And then, is it easy to learn? How hard is this? Is it user friendly? Definitely, that's a big one. Especially having team members comfortable with with that transition. And then there are quite a few others. But I think, yeah, there's a few from data transfer and workflows. Can we import from different systems, from my system specifically? So yeah, quite a few different themes. But I think the great thing is we'll be able to explore hopefully almost all of these and give you a good perspective on things.
Amazing. Thanks everyone for participating. It's really valuable for us to see what you're considering in this transition process, or maybe if you're just thinking of starting a new practice, what could that look like also? So, now that we've heard from everyone, let's hop into things. and we'll talk about quickly what we are going to be covering here today. So Jane is here to support you in the move, right? We are here. You can think of us as your personal movers who are here to assist with that moving of your boxes, um, helping you set up your new Jane account, things like that. So before, during, after, we'll be there for you. So today we're going to cover some of the key aspects of making that move less stressful and a better experience. So we're going to see how Jane works for practitioners, front desk staff, as well as patients. We're going to learn if Jane is going to be the right fit for you. So highlighting on some of those features that you may be looking for. Chris, as he mentioned, is going to be walking through the import process. So if data transition is something that you're wanting to consider, he'll cover that for us. And then towards the end, we'll talk about some setup basics, Jane support, and how we can make that transition nice and smooth. So before we get into that switching process, let's have a quick look at how Jane works. I'm going to walk you through just a quick little mini demo here to show you from a client perspective, as well as from a staff perspective, what this can look like. So this is our Jane demo clinic. As you can see, Jane is able to support multi-location, multi-practitioner, multidiscipline clinics. There's lots of availability to also customize your online booking site as well, such as changing the color, uploading your own logo, and also changing this white background here. Let's just say, for example, I'm going to go ahead and book an appointment at the Village. Now, my neck has been pretty tight lately. I want to see if maybe I can get in with a massage therapist, right? Kind of work on those shoulder muscles. So I'm going to go ahead and choose a 60-minute massage. When I choose this option, Jane is going to show me all of the availability and how soon I could book that appointment. Looks like there's lots of time here today, but I'm actually going to go ahead and I'm going to book in a Saturday time here. Once I select that time, Jane is going to go ahead and ask if I want to book multiple appointments at once, just the single appointment, or whoops, don't book that. If I click the wrong time, Jane can bring me out of this and I can then choose the best time for myself. So once I choose I'm done, Jane will bring me to thank you for booking. A little bit of information on what appointment was booked, if I have an intake form I need to fill out, and some other information to assist me with my appointment. So from a client perspective, that's the booking process. Pretty straightforward, lots of availability to show your types of appointments and practitioners in your clinic. Now what I'm going to do is hop into the administrative side of Jane so I can show you how Jane functions from a staff perspective. All right. So when we first open up Jane as a practitioner, we come to what's called the day view. Now, you may notice on the left-hand side, we have this Let's Get You Started window. I'm going to go ahead and just minimize that for now. We'll tackle that a little bit later in the webinar here today. So as a practitioner, Jane likes to make things as smooth as possible for me. So I can see my upcoming appointments that I have listed for today, so I can get a bit of a heads up on what I'm going to be seeing today. When I click directly on an appointment from this view, Jane is going to open up the chart view for that patient. This is how Jane can make charting for us a lot smoother. We're able to then go ahead and create a new chart entry. We can either choose from Jane's pre-selected options, or we could make our own templates here for our charting. Simply, whatever option you choose, Jane will pull up the information and the template to fill out. Once I fill out our information, I'll just say massage went well. Any information you need to add in there. If you do need to add extra items, you can do so as well. If you are curious on how Jane can make charting a lot easier and a less stressful process, feel free to check out some of our other webinars and materials for some deeper workflows there. Quickly, I want to touch on our schedule. So if I head up and click on schedule, this is really the heart and soul of Jane. This is where not only can you see your appointments for the day and what you have coming up, but if we click on staff today, this is really helpful for front desk staff who needs to see all of the action that's happening, all of the patients that are coming into the clinic, and it's a nice, easy way to be able to manage all of those appointments coming in. So for our patient here, we can click on the appointment. We'll tell Jane that our patient has arrived for the appointment, and then we can easily pay for the appointment right within the same screen. We can go ahead and collect payment however they decided to pay. Cash, e-transfer, credit card, terminal, Jane can support it all. Once we pay for that appointment, Jane loves to give little tiny indications of information to make things easier. So I can see a little dollar icon, meaning that the appointment is paid for and that patient is good to go. So that's just a very brief overview of how Jane supports patients, front desk staff, and practitioners. If you do want to see a more personalized one-on-one demo, you can book a demo with the support staff like myself and Chris, and we can customize the demo to show you all around Jane. Whenever you're ready to book a demo, you can head over to our website, jane.app, and in the top right corner, we have our book a demo button where you can let us know what your discipline is, which country you're located in, and what you're looking for. We do have availability for demos that you could see once you go ahead and book. All right, now that we've kind of gone through what Jane can do and how you can book a demo, last little bit, your security is very important to us. So that's why Jane is HIPAA, PIPEDA compliant, as well as SOC2 certified. If you're ever curious about privacy and security, reach out to our support team and we can help you out. Okay, now that we've gone through that, let's get right into the switching process. So Chris had highlighted it very well that making the transition to a new EMR is kind of like finding your dream home. So when you're going to view a couple of dream homes, there could be a realtor that takes you around, shows you some beautiful show homes. That's kind of like booking a demo with one of our support team members. So we want to show you, Jane, we want to show you the features, all of those shiny little tidbits, the beautiful interior, all of those fun things. So once you find an EMR that you like, that you maybe want to try out, it's kind of like testing out that dream home. I don't know if we can, but if I had the opportunity to have a sleepover in my dream home, it could be kind of cool. But essentially, we want to give you the opportunity to actually test it out to make sure it's going to be a good fit for your clinic. So after you book a demo, we will give you access to our demo site that I just went through. It'll then allow you to test out charting, book appointments, and really see if it's going to be something that fits well for yourself before you commit to that purchase. So let's say after you have that nice testing in the demo clinic, you decide, all right, I'm in, let's do this. This is the perfect software. You pick up the phone, you call Jane Supports, and we get you started. It's kind of like picking up the phone and telling your realtor you're ready to commit. So once you make that step, you can sign up for Jane straight from within our website. We have a sign up button that can get you a new Jane account started within a few short minutes. So once you've gone through all of this, you've decided to commit to Jane, you're ready to get it started. What next? And that's where we come in. Now, this is where we're going to show you the next steps what's going to happen after you sign up for Jane. So it's moving day, right? Following along with this analogy, you have decided to join Jane and you're ready now to move your information over into Jane, packing up those boxes and moving it into that new home. So you may remember the Let's Get You Started menu that had popped up in the demo site. This is what we call our setup wizard. So the setup wizard, even though it's not magical, it's there to support you through some of those key steps to get started. So this can include reviewing your business information. So adding in your address, the name of the clinic, if you're virtual practice, things like that. Creating your disciplines and treatments. So are you physio, massage, chiro, counseling, aesthetics? Setting up the treatments, so appointment types that you're going to be booking in for your clients. Adding in your staff members. So if you have front desk staff, other practitioners, great place to get started. And additionally, scheduling an import. So just to show you our setup wizard quickly, I'll hop back into our demo clinic and I'm just going to open up our setup wizard. So you'll have the ability to open up the setup wizard in the top left corner while you're going through and completing it. So with the setup wizard, we have some videos to show you how to do each step. We love that satisfying feeling of checking something off of your to-do list. So you can check that off once you've done it. Or if you've already completed it, just out of your own curiosity, you can just skip that step and move on to the next. So once you go through all of these little tidbits of information, you're going to come to schedule an import. So this is probably one of the most important factors if you are transitioning from another EMR software system. And so I'm going to pass it over to Chris to take on how to schedule an import and also share some tidbits of information to make it a smooth process. Chris, take it away.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Maren. And yeah, I love the analogy of that move in. And so that data import process is basically like handing all of your moving boxes to your movers, us, and specifically to our team of our imports team, who is an amazing group. So we'll be here to unload, make sure that all of that precious cargo goes into the exact right spot. So all you need to do is to get used to those new surroundings so that you can book, schedule, chart, take payments, and enjoy all the other areas of your new Jane house. So if you're switching from another software and you're ready to move those boxes over, that booking can be a pretty straightforward process, and we're going to walk through that here in a moment. But I did want to just quickly review the different types of information that we can bring in. So we can import that patient list, all of those details, name, address, email, phone number, and a few others, as well as those previous and future appointments, so that we don't have to re-enter that information. It just comes across, as well as chart details. And so that can be charts and soap notes, and they're all synonymous together. We are able to bring those across, and it can be really helpful. Charts can sometimes come in an Excel format or a CSV, which is basically like an Excel file with commas in it, or they're commonly able to be exported from your current system as a JPEG or a PDF file. And so those can all be brought in as well. And if you have products, a product listing, those can be imported into Jane as well, so that we don't, I wouldn't say that we'll do the inventory for you, but we will bring the inventory in for you, do the physical inventory, I should say. And then insurance policies is another area that we can bring in. So, especially if they're in that Excel format with, nice clearly labeled columns, that'll allow us to bring all those details again, so we don't have any or more typing than is necessary to be done as we get set up. One little note is that with anything that's like a JPEG or a PDF chart, we have seen that there can be quite a few of those. Perhaps sometimes there'll be one entry for each visit. And so sometimes what can make things a whole lot easier is to zip all of those files together into a zip folder, and that makes it a whole lot easier on that upload side of things. And that might be a little bit of foreshadowing here on the upload side of things. Maren, would you be so kind as to bring our demo site back up? I just wanted to walk through the process and some of the steps that we'll take to get the ball rolling.
Yeah, let's show our audience how to schedule an import. So I'll go ahead and bring it up and you take it away.
Perfect. Perfect. So we do have the link on that left-hand side and, again, some helpful guides, but I want to just hop directly to the area where we can do this. So Maren, if you could go up to the settings in that very top menu there. Perfect. And then if we can go down to the very, very bottom of the page, and I think it's at the bottom, although it's one of the first things that you'll do, it's at the bottom because that is our groundwork. That's how we can get everything, one of the areas we can get things laid out. So with scheduling an import, we have a great Learn More button. And so that Learn More button, if you wouldn't mind opening that, Maren, it does have some great different resources, videos even, to explain the process a little bit. Of course, your support team is here to assist with any of those questions as well. So, certainly for some, checking out the resources is, their preferred method, but also just calling someone and walking through it can be helpful as well. So we're certainly here to help throughout that process. So we always want to have great information to share. Now, Maren, I don't know if you're ready, but if you would, we could click on that begin button and dive in here a little more.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's schedule an import.
Awesome. So the great thing with scheduling an import, with that data, that is crucial data. Privacy is of the utmost importance for us. So this process, and we'll look at that just a little bit at the end, we're able to upload all of our files onto Jane's secure servers, again, with all of those security protocols in place. So we don't have to transfer through other methods. It's just a straight upload. And the nice thing as well is I'd say it's about 10 clicks or less for us to choose and decide, okay, what would we want to import? And we'll kind of go down from the top down here. Yeah, it allows us to select what's important for us. For some, you might just have a client list and that's all that you need imported. And for others, you want everything. And so it's just a matter of kind of selecting from our menu here. And yeah, so as we work from the top, it's those areas that we talked about, those client profiles, appointments, both past and upcoming, our client chart information, products and inventory, the insurance, as well as those administrative notes if you do have them. You will notice one thing right at the very bottom here, and that is billing data. So billing data is crossed out, and that's just our reminder that this is one area that we're not able to import in. And the reason for that is the complex nature in the way different systems store that information, how it interacts with different parts of the system. So billing data really is primarily those invoices and payments. And what we have seen is that storing that history, exporting it out with reports, with potentially with an export, depending on your software company, and securing that storing that securely. That was a little crossover words there. Storing that securely can be a great way if you do need to go back and check with any of that information. Now, that said, we are here to assist you because sometimes you might have a patient or client that comes with credits and outstanding balances. So we do have a process and a way to walk through that and to create those so that the amount of cross-referencing back to that historical information is minimized, and then you can start using Jane from day one. Now, as we move down, our next kind of drop down is what software is the data being exported from? And so we have our list of kind of the primary versions that we import from on a very regular basis, but it's not an exhaustive list. And so these are just the most common. No sweat if you don't see your software listed here. We have imported from over 500 different systems. And so it is quite possible that we may have imported it from your system and it might not be listed here. But if you don't see your software, if you go to the very bottom and choose Other, and then that will allow us to name that software, and then we can determine what's possible as far as that import goes. And then when it comes to the date that we'll be uploading our information, and that's kind of our next box down, that is, we find if we can choose a date that is close to our date where we would want to go live, where everyone's feeling comfortable and they've gone through a little bit of training in getting used to Jane, that can be if we can get close to that go live date, it just makes sure that none of that information that is so crucial is lost as a part of that import. And so we can schedule up to a month in advance, which is a great thing. So then we can kind of choose a date and work back from there as far as that process goes. And then our next box, when are you hoping for the import to be completed by? We do normally have a 48-hour timeline because we want to make sure that that import is a success. So we want to give the time and space to be able to do that. If you do have more limited information, perhaps just a few charts and your client list, quite often that can be completed more than that, but we do set that 48-hour timeline just so that we have that time and space to make sure that everything's a success. Now, as far as kind of our final boxes there, this is just who would we want to, or who would you want us to connect with if we do have any questions about that data? And so our imports team will give you updates along the way, but having a way to connect with you, or the best way to connect with you, can really make that helpful if there are any questions. And then if you did want to add anything else, other messages, other questions, you can do that right in that very bottom section there. And then our final step is that submit request. And so once we click submit request, that import is now created and we are on the calendar. And so the exciting thing is we have a place, a landing spot for all of that information. We talked about that secure transmission of information. And so really this section here will allow us to see or allow us to do that upload. And Maren, if you wouldn't mind, if we can kind of outline these two sections, the drag and drop to upload. So if you're a drag and dropper, you could just drag all those files, zip files, Excel files, CSV files, whatever they are, into that drag and drop section. And then there is also another for select your files from the computer. That's always my preference. I like to go and to pick them, but either will work. We have found that if you are getting extra files, I've seen that before where maybe we select a few extras when we drag and drop. Sometimes just using that select files from your computer can be a really helpful way to approach it. And so once we've uploaded those files, really all we need to do is to click done. And then when we click done, that lets our team know that I'm ready to go, and they'll start that process, and then they will confirm with you when that has been completed. So a couple little notes for those that are if you perhaps have a larger system. We do find if you have a zip file with a lot of different files in them and a lot of space used, sizes between 30 and 50 gigabytes will be the very best. So if when we're zipping, if we can limit it to that 30 to 50 gigabytes, and then perhaps upload separate files, that can lead to the very best success when it comes to that upload side of things. And then I will, Maren, if you wouldn't mind, if we can just scroll down a little bit from here, just wanted to look at as well the plan. And so this, all of those checkboxes that we checked, this is basically just reflecting this is what will be happening. And we do have a great way at the very bottom there. If we wanted to securely talk back and forth with the imports team, it can be done right there as well. And so we can add in those messages and have a conversation that way directly with that great imports team. And Maren, if you wouldn't mind, just to get a little bit of a view of things, if we could just click off of this section and then go back to it. I just want to give a little bit of that preview because what is normal, I would probably schedule that import, and then I have a whole lot of other work that I'm doing. And so to be able to get back and to do that upload, we're going to go to the exact same spot. And so again, we just go to that very bottom schedule and import section in our settings area. And then when we come in, that will be the import that's scheduled. And then when we click on those view details, that familiar screen that we were just looking at is there. So that's kind of the process. Hopefully that helps as far as the workflow. But again, any questions, your support team is here and happy to help along the way.
Mm-hmm. Thanks so much, Chris, for going through that import process. I don't know about anyone else. It actually excites me on how smooth the transition process can be for our imports. And do know if at any point you are hesitant or you have questions, or even if our imports team has questions for you, that communication line is always open for you. You have a whole team behind you during that transition process. And also, I learned something new today that we've transitioned people from over 500 different softwares. That's crazy. I didn't even know that there was that many, as well as pen and paper. So, whether you are an existing clinic that's transitioning from another software, software, or you're classic with just pen and paper and you're ready to go digital, we've got your back. We've got you supported. So then your next question may come up as, okay, so we've gone through the setup wizard, we've scheduled an import. Now what? What's our next topic here? And that's what I'm going to touch on. So kind of step 3 in this process is an account setup consultation. So an account setup consultation is where you can book a time again with a support member like myself or Chris. If you do book one with us, please let us know that you attended the webinar. We would be very excited to connect with you. The account setup consultation is your time to ask us any questions that you may have. We can go through what you've done so far in your account, maybe give you some suggestions, some tips and tricks on how to set up your clinic for success. And in order to get the most out of your account setup consultation, we do recommend going through that setup wizard first, and then bring forward any questions if you do have any barriers along the way, or if you're not sure how to set something up. That's the best place to get us started there. Account setup consultations are fully included within your Jane subscription. We do find that typically on average, 1 to maybe 3 account setup consultations, depending on your clinic and what you need, is going to set you up for success. So then you may be asking, Maren, how do I book an account setup consultation? Let me show you how. So back in our demo clinic here, with your setup wizard on the left-hand side, click on that gray check mark. And if we go to the very bottom of the page here, once you've gone through everything, you'll see need help setting up and then book your account setup consultation. We do have availability from various points in the day. We also have some availability on Saturdays. So I'm on the Saturday team. So if you do book one on Saturday, you may just get myself and we can connect. I'd love to hear from you. So that's how you can book an account setup consultation, essentially to, polish the interior, really make that dream EMR, that dream house come to life for yourself, your patients, and your staff before you go live. All right. So that is the transition kind of from sign up to finishing off your Jane account here. We've been chatting quite a lot here right now. So we want to pass it back to the audience for a quick little moment here. So we want to know, in your experience, how do you prefer to learn when you're onboarding? So there should be another poll popping up on your screen here. So, for example, myself, I like to watch videos. I like to watch someone go through the process first before I learn. Chris, how about you? Do you have a preferred learning method?
I do. I like to get my hands on things and test them out and see if I do this, what happens, and yeah, that experimentation and kind of that real life to be able to see. Although it's sometimes it's more demo software, it gives you that real life feeling. So then okay, well, how does this work? So having
Mhm.
some good resources can be helpful as well. But yeah, I love hands-on.
Yeah, perfect. So, video like myself, tactile like Chris, do you prefer to read instructions? Do you prefer to chat to a live human being? That's another option. Um, so, what are we kind of seeing in the chat there, Chris? What's our audience kind of voting towards?
So I'm looking at our poll. Number one is short videos,
Mm.
and then quite a few other folks chatting with customer support, and then we have a mix of uh, looking at webinars, and then I'm just going to go over here and look at the chat because some says pop in the chat text guides as well, guides that we can work through and hands-on, all of the above. Someone else is saying. So yeah, a bit of a mix, but I think yeah, number one is that short videos followed by talking with customer support.
Awesome. Again, thanks for everyone for participating. It's really exciting to see, and I always love to be curious about what learning methods are preferred by individuals. Now, here's the best part out of all of this. No matter what your learning style is, no matter what your preferred method is, we have very helpful self-serve resources at Jane for every learning style. We've tried to cover all aspects. So what Jane has done is you can learn at your own pace through things like demo videos, which sounds like that's a popular one, self-serve guides, which I'll show you in a moment, Jane's demo site. So if you prefer to test things out and be a little bit more hands-on like Chris, the demo site is a great place for yourself. Webinars, we saw some webinar folks. So for example, our webinar like we're doing today, or watching past webinars as well. We also have something that I am excited to show, which is called Jane University. Now, don't worry, this isn't something like a 4-year degree that you have to go through. I've been there, it's something a little different. So, let me show you all of our available resources and how you can access your preferred learning style. So, once again, back into our demo clinic here. At the top right corner of your Jane account, when you do set up your Jane account, is a Need Help button. In the Need Help area, this is where you can access a variety of resources. The most recent one that we've introduced is our Jane Guide Sidekick. This is our new AI assistant that helps browse our Jane guides and pull up answers for you quickly. So if you're interacting with a patient and you're not sure how to refund a payment, you can ask that question and Jane will pull it up. For those that love chatting to customer support, I saw a lot of those in the chat and in the poll. You can connect with us via phone, live chat, or email. We do have our support hours listed to give you a heads up on when you can connect with a live human being like ourselves. It'll give you access to the demo clinic. So you can click on the demo clinic link. We have a password that does reset every Monday. So this will give you a heads up on the password. And we do have a variety of usernames on how you can access the demo site. So before I dive in too much further, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and click on our Jane Guide Sidekick. Now, this is access to our library. You can access it from your Jane account. Alternatively, you can also hop into our website, and at the very top, you'll see Guide. So if you click on Guide, this will open up our whole Jane Guides library. For the Jane University, if you scroll down a little bit on the left, you can see that we have both front desk training as well as practitioner training. So if I'm front desk, for example, you can have your front desk staff go through these chapters to learn the basic foundation instructions of Jane. So for example, our chapter 1, which is scheduling, it's going to start off showing you how you can access the demo clinic, how you can prepare yourself in Jane, and go through some other tips. So within the Jane University chapters, we do have those short videos, which everyone loves. And then we also have what we call practice drills. So just like being on a sports team, you can practice these systems in the demo clinic. If you are very keen, we also have little quizzes that you could also quiz yourself with. This can be accessed at any point by anybody on their own time, and it is self-paced, so no pressure about deadlines. So that's just a brief overview of the variety of resources that you do have at your fingertips. Now, you don't just have to take it from us either. We are here to support you. You've got a full team behind you, but we've also got an amazing Jane community. We have a Jane community in our Facebook group. And let me tell you, the individuals in this community group, so many people have switched to Jane and have shared their experiences in this channel. So, where they moved from, how they navigated the process, what were some tips and tricks. So, the Jane community on Facebook, um, is a peer-to-peer learning space. If you want to inquire on what other counselors are doing in their Jane account, you can pop in there and just hear from others. So you can get some best practices, tips, and tricks, share resources to enhance and expand both your business and your practice knowledge. Seek advice and support from your fellow business owners and practitioners with similar goals and challenges. You can also gain early access and sneak peeks to new features and updates that happen within Jane. At Jane, we continually want to improve and better ourselves for our customers. So if we're releasing something new, you can get a sneak peek in that community group as well. Now, I saw early on in the chat that we have a lot of attendees coming in from the United States. So for those who are joining us from the United States, if you are part of a billing group that deals with insurance, billing, anything like that, we have created a specific janeapp billing community for the United States. So I'd highly, highly recommend popping in there. Share with us your feedback, your comments, your curiosities. That group is amazing for just helping support through some of those billing questions and areas. So Chris and I have kind of reiterated this a couple times in our webinar today, but we really want you to know that when you sign up for Jane, you don't just get a software, you get a whole team. That goes from our imports team to our customer support to subscriptions to marketing. You get everyone behind you. So you get unlimited phone, email, and chat support. As I mentioned, you can access support whenever you need it, even on Saturdays. So if you call into support on a Saturday and you get myself, let me know that you attended the webinar. Again, I'd love to hear from you and help you set up your account there. One thing that we are very proud of is that 2 minutes is roughly the average time it takes to connect and talk to a real live human being. Um, we are human. We get that you're human. We're there for you to support any questions that you may have that pop up. As I mentioned, that need help button in the top right corner of your Jane account, that'll show you when you can connect with us and give you access to the best ways and the best channels to connect. I'll pass it over to Chris to wrap us up here, including our little quiz.
Awesome. Thank you, Maren. And thanks everyone for joining us and giving your time to us. We really appreciate that. So we had a lot of details here, and sometimes just having a nice starting point can be really helpful. Like, where do I go next? What are the next best steps? And so we have a web page, and if you were to head over to jane.app/switch, we have a couple great resources there. And a part of that, one of those resources is we do have a bit of a quiz. Don't worry, there's no grades. We won't. Maybe we'll send you a gold star. But really, that quiz is meant to determine where am I at in the process? Am I ready? And what should my next step be? To get a little bit of an insight that way. There is also a really helpful checklist in the bottom section there, which we can see in the bottom right corner of the slide, the Moving Essentials checklist. And so this can be really helpful to determine what do you need in that software, and make sure that as I'm seeing my demo, as I'm using the demo clinic, to make sure that is all measuring up for you. Yeah, please do not forget, Maren mentioned this as well, we have such a great community at Jane. So please remember and feel welcome in connecting with our community groups for that ongoing support. And there's nothing like talking to someone that's doing the exact same thing that you're doing to get some of that experiential wisdom and those insights. And so both from the billing perspective, but also on just a general usage side of things. We do also have some great resources in our YouTube channel. I know some folks mentioned that they really like those videos. And so we do have, webinars that are there, but also some great, quick little videos to show, well, how do I approach this? And the great thing for today is you will receive a PDF checklist as well as the webinar recording a little bit later on today. So this will be available if you wanted to come back and to review things.
All right, so we'll leave it on this page here. If anyone wants to hop into that readiness switch quiz, if anyone wants to open up those community groups, the links are here. I've seen that Christina has been amazing at popping in those resources as well. And a big thank you to everyone who joined us today in the webinar. So thank you to everyone who took the time to learn about making that switch to Jane. But I also want to shout out all of the individuals that made this webinar possible. So Christina, thank you so much for being in the chat. My co-host Chris, thanks so much for being here today too. All of our marketing individuals that helped set up the webinar, they do a fantastic job. Chris, anything else you wanted to mention before we go ahead and wrap it up here?
Yeah, it's been a pleasure, and thank you everyone for those great questions. Please feel free to reach out to our support team if you do have questions, because sometimes this discussion spurs on other questions, which is great. We have answers that we'd love to share with you. So I think we said it a few times, but we love talking with folks and love getting you answers to any questions that you might have.